Welcome to How's Your ePresence. I'm your host, Mark Galvin, and you're joining us. It's getting a little cooler outside, so I'm throwing on something that has some long sleeves versus the short sleeves and the jacket. Ran across something really cool yesterday, and that is that you can animate your profile picture on LinkedIn. How cool is that? But you have to do it from your phone. Go check out my LinkedIn profile, and I'll show you how to do that. I did a little video on that. We are happy you are here. This show is How's Your ePresence? And what we do here is we help businesses figure out how to do a little something new on social or digital or anything that has to do with an online environment. We have a great guest for you today that's going to really talk about some of those online environments that'll help you bring in some extra revenue, which ultimately is what we're really all about. How can we help you do something a little better, a little more effective on social or on digital as it may be? We're constantly building a library of content. And the reason that we do this is so that you can go to our channel and look for answers to things that you may not just be doing well, or maybe you want to understand it before you jump into that arena. I'll give you an example of some things we've talked about recently. We spoke to Catherine Smith of Walton Birch on how to run an e-commerce shop. There's a lot of e-commerce folks out there trying to figure out how you can go from, say, Etsy to Shopify, and she is an expert in that space. We also spoke to Gordon Van Weckel on how to market local businesses. And something else that's super important these days is we're talking about cybersecurity. We're all interested in cybersecurity. We spoke to the founder of Cybrella, a cybersecurity firm. His name is Alon Mansour, and talked to him about how you can enhance your cybersecurity. So those are all sitting out there in our library. Go take a look at those, and I bet we can help you with lots of great new ideas and ways to do something a little better. Our shows are live. As you know, we always run them on either Tuesdays or Thursdays. Tuesdays in the morning, Thursdays in the afternoon. We'd love for you to, when you're tuning in live, to ask a question. So feel free to drop a question in the chat box and we will throw it at our guest. What are we going to do today? We're going to talk about how you can make a live events today online, run to your audience and make a great return on them. And we'll get into a little bit of the technology. We may find out a little bit more about our guest, how he ended up in this space. He's got some really cool experience. We would love for you to subscribe to our channel. The reason we'd like for you to subscribe, thank you for putting that up there, Morgan. The reason is we want you to know when we go live. When we go live, you can jump in, you can put us in the background, and you can learn something or ask a question and interact directly with our guest. If you are watching live, we'd love for you to drop in the chat box where you're tuning in from. Even if you have a question or not, just say, hey, tuning in from Siberia. We're still waiting for that guest to join us from Siberia. But if you are there, be that person to say, hey, this is where I am from. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest today. His name is Howie Zales with Viridity Entertainment Services. On my script, it says Howard, so I have to be very careful to make sure I use the right name. So Howie Zales, he is an Emmy Award-winning camera operator. And I think if you've been to a baseball game, baseball's on my mind recently, you've seen a few of those camera operators up, maybe sitting in the camera box beside your seat at a game. He created HJZ Productions in 2000, which was a professional sports crewing and staffing group out of New York. Then he founded in 2019 the Viridity Entertainment Services. We're going to talk a lot about that today. He's from New York, and he has his family, and he live in New York, and he has two golden noodles. I said it right the first time. Ellie and Manny, and we at ePresence love our pets, especially our dogs. So I think that's the only reason he's here. We just want to talk to him about his dogs. So just a reminder, folks, if you're here, you're tuning in live, throw in a question into that question box, and we will see if we can stump Howie. I think that's enough of the pre-show stuff. Let's see if we can get Howie to join us here on the stage. Are you there? There he is. Howie, how are you, sir?
Hey, Mark. Nice to see you. Honored to be here.
Good to see you. I am glad you are here. Now, folks, you all have to know something really interesting. This is what Howie does. So he understands how to put together all this, the video and multiple people on the screen. So I'm a little I'm a little uncomfortable here. So if I look like I'm trying, if I feel a little pressure, it's because that's what Howie does. Tell us this, if you would, Howie. What is Viridity Entertainment Services?
Sure. Viridity Entertainment Services is a live stream and event planning company. We do live stream productions, whether it be remote, on location, hybrid, which is a little bit of both, all different types of shows, from talk shows to cooking shows to concerts to corporate meetings and events, and
Cool.
big company announcements, anything you could possibly imagine. And we stream globally.
So if I wanted to, if I'm a really cool chef and I wanted to do a cooking thing, you would set up all the cameras and I would just have to show up and cook?
Pretty much. Yeah, we've done some live cooking shows with the people from Top Chef, and where we set it where they rented a house, and we set up 5 cameras in the kitchen, and they came in, and they had a box of food, and everyone that was watching got the same box of food. So
Oh, shut up.
we streamed the recipe while the two hosts were cooking to everyone that was watching, and they were cooking simultaneously and asking
Oh, that's cool.
questions while the stream was going on, what they were doing wrong, what they were doing right, things like that.
Oh, that's awesome. So what does Viridity mean?
Viridity, in the thesaurus, is the state of being green. We chose the name for that business because I went to a mastermind, and which is a group of like-minded individuals. And one of the lessons we learned is, if you're doing something in life and business, and you have great success, and you like hit a high, you're kind of in the blue zone. If you're get angry and things are going bad and you hit a low, it's called being in the red zone. And there's people that, when they go from one to the other really quickly, depending on what's going on. And if you're in the middle, you stay kind of even keeled. That's called being in the green. And that fits my personality of kind of just being in the green, even keeled, no matter what the situation is. And so we thought that was a good name for the business.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's really cool. So one of the questions I have for you is just curious, if I am a business owner, why would I want to do a live event? All I'm sitting there thinking is, gosh, how can I make any money off of doing a live event? And God, and the other thing is, what content would I share? How does a business owner put something like that together, or a business for that matter?
Yeah, there's plenty that you can do, and doing a live event from a small, little company to a huge corporation. The only difference is how many people are watching, maybe, or where it's going, or the content you're sharing, but you still get your message. You still get your message out there.
Huh.
We've done live events for companies like Ray-Ban and big huge big corporations. We've done corporate meetings where they need to talk, where the companies need to get their information out to their investors. We've done corporate type shows where they're making big announcements of a new product, things like that.
So what we're talking about here are events that are, this is not just one little camera sitting on somebody's desktop and you're weaving that together. You bring in a full production crew for, and I guess you probably have a name for this, where there's sort of like a home base. This is the stage, the main
Yep.
stage, right? And you kind of run off of there, and you could have other guests join from their own location. But, and I do have I envision if I was a top chef, and if you were coming into my home, I may want you to walk through my front door of my home. So you could even do a drone fly in and bring that in. You could weave all these images together so that if I was paying for that it would be really worthwhile. So we're talking some really serious high end events here. Is that right?
Yeah, so we'll go back to like at the beginning of COVID last year, right? When no one wanted to be near anybody. We
Right.
um we came up with these remote capture or camera kits, if you want to call them. They're high-end laptops with high-end webcams, high def webcams with USB microphones and Ethernet cables and lights. And we would ship these computer kits out to the contributors into our show, and we'd walk
Got
them
it.
through the setup. We'd do a whole tech check with them, make sure everything worked, and then 2 days later, we'd have our production. Whether we were doing talk shows, sports talk shows about whether it's the college football playoffs or March Madness. And then we would log into the computer, we'd set the computer up for them remotely, make sure it's focused and white balance the camera, and we could do these productions completely 100% remote with nobody on site, just with
Unbelievable.
our remote camera kits. Now, since events are starting to come back, we're seeing a mix of these types of events where
Right.
we'll have 3 or 4 cameras at a location, whether it's at a corporate office or it's a sound stage or wherever it may be. And we'll have 3 cameras there. We'll have a panel there. We'll have plenty of audio. And then could be thousands and thousands of people watching virtually. We'll stream the event to those people. We can also offer an entire web experience where that virtual audience is a part of the production, where we can bring them in to ask questions. We can put them on camera. We can hear them. And so it's a fully interactive medium.
This is pretty cool. When you're doing this, you have a whole set of people you got a producer that's pulling the images, that's weaving all that together, and it's running live, and live TV, live events all have their own little quirks to them. But I'm guessing that a lot of people pay to access this. So you're streaming this to some sort of website that's a pay to play portal. Is that right?
It can be. Yeah, we've done
Okay.
that. It absolutely can be. Sometimes it's just, a corporate or an event function where there is no cost to it. But yes, we can certainly
Got it.
do that as well. This morning we did a live announcement where we had 4 cameras there. It was a panel of 6 people. Journalists from around the globe called in, were a part of the production and asked questions, and were seen on camera and heard on camera and interacted with the panel that was all in the same room, and it
That's cool.
streamed globally.
That is cool. All right. So how do I make this type of event make money? What is the typical thing that you see that the businesses or the people that are putting on this, how do they make money on this? What have you found?
So, you can see this with like sporting events, right? You can put a paywall up to watch a sporting event where you charge 3, 5, $10 to watch a sporting event that's only streamed, that's not available on TV.
Right.
You can do a
I see that a
virtual.
lot with boxing, right?
Yes.
Boxing seems to be a thing with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can do it with like a virtual gala or a fundraising type thing where you charge, to get in to watch a concert. We've done concerts where, there's a paywall to get in to view the concert that's being streamed.
Right. All right. So I think this is intriguing, especially because you're sort of bridging that gap. Um, I will tell you something as a sidebar. I'm amazed at how many people join major news today with a really crappy camera pointed up the subject's nose, and we've just accepted it now. But you know what I'm talking about? They're talking to the lens that's sitting on their laptop, and the
Yep.
laptop's in front of them, and it's shooting straight up.
Drives me
Not a
insane.
good look, right? But I guess if you want that guest, sometimes the guests are worth more than worrying about that.
Right.
How this is interesting. So you send a camera package to the guests, the people that will be on camera. what do you send? What is it? What does that technology look like? And can people find it if they're really looking to step up their digital game?
Yeah, great question. We use Asus super high end computers that have at the time of purchase the highest graphics and video card that they had at the time. We
Yeah.
use
Okay. Wait.
Razer
Asus. Spell
Asus.
that.
Yep, ASUS.
AS. Oh,
Um,
okay. Got it.
yep.
I do know that.
And then we
Just didn't know how
use
to spell it.
Razer webcams. And the reason why we chose those is because you can actually get in and into the camera software and change the color temperature. So
Hmm.
if it's a little too blue or a little too yellow, you can manipulate it and make it look so the skin tone of the person who the camera is shooting is really what it looks like. Um,
And you
we
can do
can
that
change the
remotely. So you don't have
totally
to be on
remotely.
site. You can get it. That's interesting. Okay.
So all of our computers have TeamViewer on it, and with our professional TeamViewer account over the internet, we can log into any of our computers. We get notified when it's connected to the internet. We just log in,
Wow.
and then we just take control of the computer, and we can open up any of the programs, manipulate the entire computer from three 3,000 miles away.
Wow.
Um, and same with the audio, we use Yeti Blue mics because it comes with software that we can enable to make the person make their voice sound better than maybe it really is.
So, and I have a Yeti mic and I don't, so we're talking really high end equipment that most people aren't going to go out and buy on their own. So you're
Right.
packaging these out and you're sending them to these folks. That's really cool. Are there tips that are worthwhile for most people to know, just everyday camera
Yeah.
use on Zooms and Teams?
Yeah. So I use it on my computer at home. It's a computer stand. So instead of the computer, being down here and looking like that, right?
Right, right.
I make sure that the top of the laptop is eye level with my eyes, so I'm, like, staring right down the barrel of the camera, and I have a camera that sits on top of the laptop, so it's even a little higher, and with that camera stand, it raises it up, and then, sometimes I also have depending which office I'm in, I have a desk that goes up and down so I can kinda lift it a little if need be, so it's, like, eye level.
Okay, that's really cool. I think this is interesting. So you're talking to us today from your office?
Yes.
This is not your home arrangement that we're talking about. So
Well,
this is
my home office.
okay. And so are you talking to us from the camera on your laptop right now?
No, I have, because this is what I do for a living. I have a
Sure.
Canon, C500, which is, a DSLR camera, with not a prime lens, but a lens that will zoom a little bit, and that's why my background is kind of out of focus 'cause,
Yeah,
the lens does that.
that is very cool. Well, I love that. You came out of you did a lot of sports camera work as a cameraman and probably and you did some other things. Have you ever, working in that space, was there ever something that was interesting? Was that hard work? Was it what unique things happened? Say shooting a baseball game.
Yeah, it was awesome work. I went to college for it. I knew exactly what I wanted to do in high school, and
Wait
I
a minute.
found
Wait,
my
wait, wait, wait.
way.
There's a college for this specifically
Yeah,
for camera work?
yeah,
I had no idea.
for TV. Yeah, I went to a college where we had our own TV station, and I was directing hockey games and basketball games.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was an amazing experience. And not that you have to go to college to do this, but it gave me some experience.
That's
And
cool.
not it's not professional, but still it gave me experience. And so I knew what I wanted to do, and I finally got in with NBC Sports, and I was shooting football games and Olympics. I've done
Yeah.
half a dozen or more Olympics, Super Bowls. um, I've been on the sidelines of NFL games. I've gotten run over
Wow.
twice on the sideline.
Run
uh,
over.
completely run over, once on an NFL game, once and I shot Notre Dame football for NBC for 20 years. So once was on a Notre Dame game. I ended up in the hospital with concussion each time.
So wait a minute. So is this one of the times when you were you had the camera on your shoulder and you were
Yep.
shooting? Okay.
So
I've seen that before. Maybe it was
yeah.
you.
One of the times I don't remember the first one, but the college football experience was there was a punt and I was shooting the punt and I went like that with the ball, and the next thing I
Yeah.
know, I'm in the hospital.
Oh no.
So I found out later because all 12 cameras zoomed in on me after I got hit. These two guys were just like running down the sideline and they were away from the ball. They ran out of bounds. And there's supposed to be someone that stands behind me on my blind side to yank me out of the way should I be in danger. And that person, unfortunately, was not doing their job that day. And
They were watching the ball.
yeah, they were actually taking pictures with their iPhone.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Ouch. All right. So I got something that I think is pretty interesting. I want to share. This just popped up in the show notes. Stephen Mann said that Georgia State University, and we're in Atlanta, has a television production degree track. I had no idea. Stephen, thanks for sharing that. That is really cool. Oh, I think this guy's dating himself. He said that was his degree back in the 80s. I'm not going to tell you that I graduated from high school with Stephen because I don't want you to know that was that what my age is. Anyway, very cool. I had no idea that was out there. All right. So what about baseball? Since, we are, we're in the middle of, and I probably shouldn't date or timestamp the podcast, but I'm going to, we're in the middle of the World Series, big deal. We're in Atlanta. That's a big talk here. What about baseball? Baseball seems like that would be a dangerous space.
Baseball is very dangerous, especially the cameras that are, on a field level by the dugouts. The coaches wear helmets now even. So back, I don't even remember what year it was, but I was doing the camera at low third. I'm sorry.
Howie, I didn't know this. So the coaches are actually wearing helmets now?
Yeah.
So when you see them in the dugout, they're no longer wearing the soft cap.
Oh
That's
no,
actually
on the field. On the field, they're wearing helmets.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm a bit of a neophyte. Anyway, keep going.
So I was operating a camera at low third at Shea Stadium where the Mets used to play. Now they are at Citi Field. There was a runner on second. So depending on who's up at bat, righty or lefty, any runners on base and how many outs is what your responsibility is. So in this situation, there was a right-handed batter up. So I was not shooting the batter because he was right-handed and I was on third. So my responsibility at the time was to shoot the lead runner who was on second base. So
Got it.
I
Are you told
at second base?
Sorry? Are you told to do this, or you just know that's my job?
Yeah, it's all of sports is a formula, and it's depending who's got the ball, how many outs, what the scenario is. So
wow,
I know
so it's not passive at all. You got to be on it.
My responsibility is to shoot the lead runner, and so, but you're always taught to watch the pitch. So I'm shooting the lead runner on second. I'm watching the pitch. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital.
Oh, so you didn't see the ball?
I didn't even see it.
Oh my goodness!
Line drive, right there. I still have the bump.
Hey,
15 or more years later.
Dude, your camera's really good. We see that bump. Well, that is all scary, as well as I guess that is the danger of doing that kind of work. There was a home run that landed right in front of a camera in the World Series. You can see the cameraman kind of, he went straight down on the ball, and then they flipped it and showed him. I think that's really cool. Probably more information than most people want to know, but I think that how the work that goes into making what just seems like a seamless production, watching a live baseball game, that's amazing. It's there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
How many cameramen? How many cameramen are there in a baseball game?
So we have low first, low third, 2 cameras on the field.
Yep.
Typically high first, which is above first base, mid-level of the stadium. High third, same spot. Possibly high, behind home plate. Then in the than like in the TV booth, or we call it high home, which shoots like when the ball is hit and it's going out to the outfield. That's or the infield. That's the camera that shoots that. Then there's center field camera,
Yep.
which shoots the pitcher batter, and then there's a tight center, which shoots kind of like the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand into the catcher.
Yeah. There was this one shot in the Braves Houston game where Charlie Morton threw a curveball and the ball was going at the batter and curved away from him. And that
Right.
perspective is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And cameras today are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And the World
So
Series are the best of the best too, in terms of operators.
yeah, just much like the players, everybody out there, the fish, the umpire crew and the camera crew, they're all good.
Yeah.
I honestly don't like John Smoltz calling the games. John Smoltz is a great guy. We love him here, especially here in Atlanta. I think he's hard on the Braves, frankly, because he doesn't want to show that he's biased for them. But he always seems like he's really down on him. Just I actually turn him off. I can't listen to him. Anyway, not that you wanted my opinion on that, but he's good at calling games. Howie, where do you want people go to find you? Where's the best place to send people?
Sure. The best place is howiezales.com. Also on LinkedIn at Howard Zales. Those are the best places.
Awesome. Well, that is so cool. I love what you do. It is so appropriate today for folks to know that if they wanted to do an event and they've had to cancel it or they need to scale it back, I'm not sure that's a lot of it, right? We got to scale this back. You can still have a fantastic experience doing an online style of program, and you can make it easier to administer because you can plug all those pieces together that an owner of a company or even the director of meetings of a company can't figure out all those components that you can do for them. So that's a really cool thing.
And it's done cheaper because now you don't have to fly your whole company or your investors or whatever it is to one location. You can have the key people there to be in the production and stream it globally, and no one has to leave the comfort of their house or their home office or their office in whatever country they're in, and you still can get all of all the necessary information and content delivered.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I came out of the hotel business. I was in the hotel business for a long time, and it was about 10 years ago we started talking about virtual meetings and thought it was going to really stunt the travel business. I do think that there's some of that's going to happen. We've experienced that we can do business online, and we're more comfortable now. And so people are probably more willing as a participant to join online events. So that I think we're in a seminal moment in the way meetings are run in the future. Howie, thank you so much for being here. This has been an interesting conversation. I love the talk about how you worked in the athletic space and broadcasting sports. There's probably a whole show we can do talking about the Olympics and Super Bowls and Notre Dame football would be pretty interesting. Maybe that's another show in the future. We just love and riff about that. Well, that'd be awesome. Howie, hang around. I'd love to ask you some questions. I'll talk to you right after the show, but thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So, folks, for the rest of you, you're tuning into How's Your ePresence. We are produced by ePresence. We are a full-service social media agency. What we want to do, the reason we do this show, is produce content that is really worthwhile for you, our viewer. Why do we want to do that? Because that's what you do on social. You provide content for your audience that your audience will find interesting, that your audience will find engaging. That's what we do at ePresence. We try to help people we do help people get online and get active and promote their brand or their individual brand. So we manage personal social media profiles as well as company. And actually, we typically start on the company side and go to the personal and help those individual key players of the company share the story of the organization on their personal profiles. We also offer consulting and we have training. I've done a lot of virtual training events over the last year with LinkedIn, as a matter of fact. So give us a buzz if you'd like to know more about us. You can find us at ePresence.me. That's ePresence.me, because it's all about you. And because you're watching this show, we offer a discount just by being a listener. You get a 5% discount on all of our offerings. And thank you, Morgan. She's put on the screen. e-pr.me/listener will get you to the page where you can take advantage of that 5% discount by being a listener or a viewer, as it were, of our show. ePresence is everywhere. How's Your ePresence is everywhere. We are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We'd love for you to subscribe. So hit that subscribe button so you get the notification that we are live and can join us and ask great questions. Or like Steve Mann said, hey, here we go. See, he came back. Stephen, I'm glad you were able to join us today. We love when people join us, and you can see we like to have them come up to the stage a little bit and share their thoughts. If you're a podcast listener, you can catch us on any podcast channel. If you want to know that list and you want to find that where that is, go to our website, epresence.me/podcast. So epresence.me/podcast. There's on the screen. You can find all the places where we host our podcast. We're always dropping content. We have new content dropping on podcast channel every single week. This show is produced by ePresence. Our producer, writer, and social media manager is Morgan Wood. Until next time, for Morgan, me, and our guest, Howard Zales, thanks for joining How's Your ePresence?